people, how are you guys doing? If you are new here, welcome. My name is Janelle, Alana, and for the returning, hey girl, what's going on today? As you can see by the title, girl, where are your boundaries? I've been wanting to do this video for a while now, and I think it's important to discuss because, you know, we're finally coming into a space where people are beginning to feel comfortable with being transparent, with being vulnerable, being willing to learn how to have healthy relationships. So I want to be a part of that conversation, and I just think it's important to share with you guys what I'm learning through God by reading His Word. So let's get started. So I have a bunch, y'all can't see, a bunch of notes about this video topic, so let's get straight through them. And I don't want to make this too long, but I want to make it long enough so that you guys can take something away from this. So making it this far in life, we all done came across some foolery, some devilish activities, some toxic behavior, whatever it is, that's what has you here. And as a growing woman of Christ, I am still actively reading the Bible. I still am a little bit newer, but I turn that into a positive because at least I'm learning. I'm just, like I said, here to share what God has shared with me. So I will be giving scriptures to kind of like, you know, just bring awareness to what it's like to have boundaries and have healthy relationships. So if there are any other scriptures, which should be throughout the whole Bible, but if there are scriptures that you feel resonate with this video topic specifically, definitely write them in the comment section and we could kiki about it and chop it up. So on my channel, a little bit about me, I have a vulnerability series playlist where you will get a little bit more background about me. And for those of you who are new, just to sum it up in a nutshell, I was basically growing up around toxic behaviors that I feel as an adult now that I need to unlearn, and I need to create a circle of people that is going to uplift, support, understand, have those hard conversations, but make it healthy, you know, all those sorts of things. So if you want to be nosy, definitely go and check it out. It's on my channel. So the first tip, I kind of already said it a little bit, but it's basically to surround yourself by a circle of people who will support and uplift you and correct you when need be. Hold you accountable. I don't think people understand that brings some sort of peace. It brings community, and that brings love in your circle as well. You're opening a safe space for you to talk about your problems, for you to talk about your wins without people getting upset or people getting envious. You're talking about your losses while people are there consoling you and supporting you through those times of grief. Without these people, that's another thing about being a Christian, is just having fellowship, being able to speak to people and just learning to love on one another, and that's not always easy. The way I would say that you create a safe space for you is to basically just have that discernment. You pray about the people that you are in cahoots with, or, you know, just acquainted by, that could be a potential friend. It's just very important to seek genuine hearts nowadays. Sometimes it's very hard to see, and some people can play you and pretend to be genuine, and they're really not. So I would just say definitely pray about that. Just pay attention to everybody's actions. That's very important. Tip number 2 would definitely be learning how to have those healthy conversations. And I think this is also an underrated tip that I think people think is easy, but it's really not. I think the first thing to take note is that it takes effort and it takes time. I'm still mastering this myself. I've finally been in one successful, healthy friendship that we are actually able to have comfortable conversations, which now become not only hard, but it turns into a healthy conversation because now we're coming on the other side of that. I think it's important that you guys, just relationships, partners, significant other, friends, family, choose times that work for both of you guys. And I have to like to have these hard conversations, and I have struggled because I'm a person who likes to nip it in the bud and have the conversation right then and there. At least with my partner. I couldn't say that with like everybody else, but that's the type of person that I was, and my partner was the opposite. So I'm like, ugh, that's so hard. But the compromise is finding a time that works for you guys to where emotions are no longer high and you guys can have a civil conversation about whatever it is that is a conflict. Another form of having healthy conversations is learning how to bring awareness to the other party of things that give evidence to support that maybe you've been there for them, all the things. But I say this in saying, don't make it sound like a tit for tat. Like, oh, because I did this, you should do that. When we do things for people, I think we need to really, really hone in on doing things because we wanted to. Doing things because that is what our heart said we should do. Not because, oh, I did this for her or I did this for him. They need to give me that same energy back. And while culturally I get it, in our Christian world, it is not like that. You give because you want to. You give because it is your heart. It's in your heart to do that. And when I say give, it just doesn't mean like money. It means like time, energy, maybe doing an act of service for someone, or, dropping someone off. Just all those things. It doesn't matter. Give is very broad when I say that as well. So just keep that in mind. The next tip is, truthfully, please stop talking over people. I can't stress this enough. I understand being frustrated. I understand when people say things that are incorrect. And it's like, wait a minute. What do you mean? So I understand that. And it's hard, humanly speaking. But do your ultimate best to just hear the person out. And sometimes if what they're saying is too long, you can interject and be like, may I speak for a moment? I just don't want to forget what you've just mentioned so far. Can I respond to these points that you've made? So I think that's a sweet way. If they say no, then you guys find a compromise that works. But, that's a form. Okay, this one, I think all of these are givens so far, but I think it's important to reiterate because I think a lot of us really struggle. I understand having passion while you are discussing conflict. Passion does not equal yelling. A lot of people I've encountered, and I'm also one of them, shut down when people are yelling at you. And people may say, oh, I'm raising my voice because I'm passionate. Well, figure out another way to express your passion. Can you express your passion in a calm tone that I'm able to receive you in? Because with you raising your voice, I'm not going to be able to hear you. I truly do believe that when you start to learn how people handle having conversations, if you love them, you truly have to adapt to that. Like, there's no, well, if I got to do this, then you need to do this for me. Like, please stop. If you love the person, you make changes because you love the people that you're interacting with. And that's that. Okay, so tip number 3 would be, when you have healthy people that you're in relationship with, and sometimes there's been some conflicts that you guys kind of got over, but there needs to be a deeper conversation. Take time, maybe, to collect yourself. Take space to yourself, so that way you can find a peace of mind really quick, gather your thoughts, and be able to analyze your own behavior along with your other party's behavior. It's important to always look at your reflection before you point the finger. I will just leave that there. I think you guys, everybody needs to understand that. Please look at how you handle situations. And sometimes we always don't know, so the other party may have opportunity to bring that to your awareness, how you may handle things that you didn't recognize. And that also benefits because when you're taking space, you're able to identify what works for you and what doesn't. How people speak to you versus how you receive communication. How they treat you versus how you treat them. It gives you time to think, I believe this relationship is worth saving, so I am going to do the work, and I am going to be receptive, and I am going to be able to state how I feel as well. And we're going to find a medium ground, and we're going to come to a compromise, and we're going to work on it, and we're going to figure it out. So yeah. Number 4, this is a really good tip because I've also experienced this a lot, and I failed a lot at this tip. Tip number 4 is know when it's time to walk away. Literally and seasonally. So some people may not respect how you take to communication because of their own style of communicating. And so if you guys have had that conversation already, that you've expressed, hey, I don't like when you raise your voice at me. If they say, oh, okay, I'll work on that or whatever, and it just repeatedly keeps happening, it's time to walk away. It's definitely time to walk away. If they can't adjust, it's time to walk away. With this, you have to pay attention to the patterns that you have in your relationship. So this kind of goes hand in hand with the sub point I just made, was that if you guys have had a mutual agreement on how you guys can communicate with each other, but every time there's conflict, that mutual agreement kind of gets swept under the rug and you guys fall back into old patterns and old habits, if that consistently keeps happening, maybe the season has to end. And that's why I say seasonally. Every season comes to an end, and sometimes that person may not just be for you in that season. And sometimes we have to learn that's okay. Like, it's okay, and it still may hurt because of the love that's there. But at the end of the day, we don't want you coming out of character because of a relationship that is now not finding joy in reconciliation. So tip number 5 is to do not underestimate the power of understanding and grace. This is needed in healthy relationships. I have so many scriptures to back this up. Y'all don't even know. But healthy relationships unpack conflict and they deal with it head on, head first. It may not be as easy as I say it is, because it's not, but that is what healthy relationships do. They attack the problem and the root of that as well. And so with doing that, that means having deep conversations, and that means bringing understanding to the conversations. You guys can go back to childhood on why you guys act the way you act, or what you've experienced in relationships, which is why you act the way you act, or you do the things that you do. It's just when you have understanding, you're able to give grace. And I think that is an amazing thing to really think about. Tip number 6 is effort. Talk equals action. It don't for most of us, but it should. And that's something I need to personally work on. And I wrote that words can be words, but words can be words with intent. And then words can be words with intent followed by action. I came up with this with a little bit of God. Everything was through God, but a little bit of God. I'm gonna throw a little bit of me up in there. But I said, if you really love your neighbor, your actions will make all the difference for a healthy relationship. Clack it. So now I'm gonna go into some verses that are really, really beautiful, they're eye-opening to me. Y'all all know, or most of you guys would know, Proverbs is an amazing book, and it's there to give you all the wisdom and all the knowledge. You are able to decipher a fool from someone who's wise, and it's such a beautiful book. I think it's one of my favorites that I've read. We have Proverbs chapter 2, verse 3. Tune your ears to wisdom and concentrate on understanding. Cry out for insight and ask for understanding. I think that's very beautiful. In personal experience, there have been times where I've cried out for insight and did not get that understanding. And I think that is why I'm in a place where I kind of struggle to fully forgive and fully love. And I think there's sometimes too, it also says it in the Bible somewhere, I forgot, but you won't understand everything. But I think it's important for me to be around people who will be willing to offer understanding. Chapter 2, verse 11, wise choices will watch over you and understanding will keep you safe. Then we have chapter 18, verse 2. Fools have no interest in understanding. They only want to air out their own opinions. I had to say too much, but I hope y'all get it. When there's people who's only all about talk, but they're not about being receptive, that's just something to pay attention to. Here we have 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 8. Jesus says to Paul, my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I am glad to boast about my weaknesses so that the power of Christ can work through me. This is Paul now. That's why I take pleasure in my weaknesses and in the insults, hardships, persecutions, and troubles that I suffer for Christ. For when I am weak, then I am strong. Period, Paul. That was good. Here's a sidebar for that. Tips number 7 would be to let go of your ego and pride, girl or boy. It doesn't serve us well to pretend that we don't care and that we're not hurting. All it does is suppress emotions, digging a deeper hole inside of our heart. Having a huge ego and so much pride will keep you away from genuine people who truly care about you and want to love on you. So we have Matthew chapter 13, verse 57. This is when Jesus is rejected at Nazareth, his hometown. It says, a prophet is honored everywhere except in his own hometown and among his own family. And so he did only a few miracles there because of their unbelief. And when I read this verse, I was so shocked. I feel like I relate. I feel like the black sheep of my family, and I'm just, just kind of outside the circle, right? But not only me relating to that, it just opens my eyes because Jesus was perfect. Jesus healed. Jesus, even when he went to his hometown, the fact that he still did the little amount of miracles that he did where he was rejected at, humanly, I couldn't even see that happening as a human. Anybody who's rejecting me, I am not willing. I'm not willing, but that just shows you the love of Jesus. I feel like in this moment, he slightly set a boundary. He's like, I could do more miracles. I could give you all this good, all this blessing. I really could. I'll just show you a little sprinkle and a little value for those who are curious or whoever. Because I'm still Jesus. I'm still going to be loving. And I just think it's beautiful to see that even where he was rejected, he was still doing miracles and just being who he is. It's just it's crazy to me. So of course we have Matthew chapter 7 verse 12, which is the golden rule. Do to others whatever you would like them to do to you. I would say it's that simple. But people are not simple. People are very complicated and very complex. I mean, look, my aunt said this. If I'm in a situation, she would say, ask yourself, what would Jesus do? It helps you think about things a little bit better. Things that you're frustrated at. Think about how you'd want to be treated in that situation. So I think when you flip that and you sit to yourself for a second and actually deeply think about those things, you'll probably have a better reaction, a holy reaction, a godly reaction, something that God honors. And I think that's just something that we need to keep in mind. So my last verse is from Mark chapter 8. It is verse 11 through 13. So just background story, this is where the Pharisees were demanding a miraculous sign from Jesus. And I was just as upset as Jesus, or not even, but I was just as upset realizing how much the Pharisees and religious leaders do not believe. They preach but don't believe. And it's just crazy. I just couldn't fathom. I couldn't understand. So anyway, they kept asking him to do miraculous signs, and they wanted to know by what authority was he given to do these miraculous things. Jesus was basically like, I'm not doing this. Because he's done so many things in front of them, but they still have not believed. So this is the verse. I will not give this generation any such sign, which is what Jesus said. So he got back in his boat and left them, and he crossed to the other side of the lake. So I want to say this kind of ties back into tip number 4, where it's time to walk away. Jesus gave us so much. I can only imagine what it was like living in that time while he was present, physically there. He was sent to fulfill the mission of dying for our sins. Thank you, Jesus. He did not deserve that. But imagine his suffering anytime one of his own children did not see his value, did not have faith in him, did not believe in him. They didn't see Jesus' worth. Ugh, a perfect man, and people couldn't see it. They saw signs and still couldn't believe. It's ridiculous. But I say all that to say it's the same with us. That when people do not see our worth time after time after time, and our heart posture has been genuine the whole time, it is time to walk away. It just is. Some people may come back later on in life and recognize that, and they may not. But that's okay, as long as your heart is in the right place. And I just think that when you walk away, that is you setting the boundary for yourself. That I cannot entertain, I cannot deal, and I just won't entertain and I won't deal with the foolery. I won't entertain and I won't deal with someone who is going to be traumatized by their brokenness, as sad as it is to say. After how much you have poured yourself out and have shown your genuineness. So I say all of that to say, you guys, this is how you set your boundaries. I think we talked a lot about having healthy conversations and how to do so. And all of these seem like very basic tips, but at the end of the day, all of this comes from the Bible. There's so much more that I have not covered, but in some of it seems like, oh, it would be common sense, right? But not everybody has the common sense, even though it's in the good book. It's in the good Bible, y'all. But that's okay, because we're here to share and spread the good news and the good gospel. And I just feel so good. I feel so warm. I prayed about this, and I get so nervous to pray before, but I'll just pray us out. And I just want to say thank you in advance for just watching this. And I pray that you took something away from me. I think that sometimes we need to hear things for the 12th time to get it for the 13th, you know? So I just hope that this served you good for today. So I'll pray us out, and then we'll go ahead and have a good day, good night, wherever you are. And yeah, okay. Y'all don't make fun of me. I'm gonna try not to cut nothing out. Dear Lord, thank you for just being the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, God. Thank you for being you. Thank you for keeping us. Thank you for this person on the other side of the screen, God, just watching this video. I pray that they get what they need out of this video in order to be better people for your purpose, God. We're so thankful for you in every single way. Thank you for allowing me to just brainstorm this video and truly follow through with doing this. Thank you for allowing me to feel worthy enough to spread the good news, God. Thank you for allowing me to just be opening the Bible as much as I can and receiving your word, God. Thank you so much for everything that you do, God. We just love you because you are simply you. You are simply you, God. And I just pray that you keep us healthy. You keep us learning to love our neighbor, because that's so hard for us, God. But I pray that you give us the gift of love. You keep us in the fruit of spirits, God. Just keep us. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. Y'all, thank you so much, truly, 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 for being here. I hope that wasn't like, I feel good about the prayer, but I feel like there was more I could have said, but I was getting a little nervous. So yeah, you guys, if you like more content like this, definitely let me know. I would love to offer you guys whatever wisdom I have, which comes from the Lord, you guys. So, yeah, I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
The sun is shining, it's a new